These are notes for 2.5b, adding and subtracting positive and negative fractions. So last lesson we talked about finding common denominators, so you know how to do that. So these are all adding and subtracting, so in order to add and subtract, we need to have these common denominators. So 3 and 4, our common denominator would be 12. 3 times 4 is 12, 8 times 4 is 32. And we have a negative sign there, so since it's the top numbers we're going to be adding or subtracting, if there are any negative signs, go ahead and put it with the top number. So 32 would be negative 32, and then we're adding, and then 4 times 3 gave us 12, so 1 times 3 is 3. So now we just solved this problem. We leave it 12 on the bottom. You do not add the denominators. That stays 12. And then what we do is we add the two top numbers. So we have negative 32 plus 3. And again, you have to look at it. We're adding, and our rule when adding two numbers with different signs is you're actually going to subtract their absolute values. So 32 minus 3 would give you 29. Then you look at it and say, okay, is it positive or negative 29? And it should be negative 29 because you have more negatives than you have positives. So it makes sense that 32 negatives plus 3 positives, the result would be 29 negatives because positives and negatives cancel each other out. So the 3 positives are canceling out 3 of your negatives. So you have 29 negatives left. Now you can either leave your answer just like that in improper fraction form, or you can change it into a mixed number, negative 2 and 5/12. Either way is fine. Then we look at number 3 there, 15 and 5, our common denominator would be 15. So it would stay negative 7. Again, look how I moved the negative sign to the top there. It's the whole fractions that's negative, but since we're adding the top numbers, then it makes sense to put it with the top number there. And then 5 times 3 gave us 15, so 4 times 3 is 12. So then, we know we're going to have a common denominator 15 there. So now we're doing negative 7 plus 12. Again, we have different signs there. So negative 7 plus 12. So in order to add those, you actually have to subtract. The difference between 7 and 12 is 5. And you have more positives than you do negatives, so it's positive 5. And now we just need to make sure we simplify 5 over 15. So we look at 5 over 15, and 5 divides both of them, 1 over 3. So your answer would be 1/3 there. For number 5, our common denominator would be 3. Our common denominator would be 9. And 3 times 3 gives us 9. 2 times 3 is 6. Minus 9 would be 9 times 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. And then we see that it's negative 5/9. So we're going to go ahead and move that negative sign to the 5. Negative 5. Now our rule is, again, we're subtracting here. So our rule is to do leave change opposite. LCO. So we leave 6/9 alone. We change subtraction to addition, and the opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. So we're going to change all of our subtraction problems into addition problems. Now you have same signs. So before, up here, we had different signs. In number 1 and number 3, we were adding numbers with different signs. Now we have numbers with the same signs, 6 plus 5. 6 positives plus 5 positives would be 11 positives over 9. So you can leave it like that, 11 over 9, or you can change it to a mixed number, 1 and 2/9. Either answer is fine. Number 7, common denominators would be 15. 5 times 3 is 15, 1 times 3 is 3. Make sure you put the negative with it. Minus, and then 15 times 1 is 15, so 2 times 1 is 2. So again, we have subtraction, so we want to follow the rule of leave change opposite. Leave negative 3/15 alone, change subtraction to addition. 2 becomes its opposite, so it becomes negative 2. So we're adding the top numbers there. They have the same signs. 3 negatives plus 2 negatives is 5 negatives over 15. And we simplify that. 5 divides itself once, and 15 3 times, and again it stays negative up top, so negative 1/3. Okay, one more here. Common denominator would be 4. So 4 times 1 is 4, so negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Minus 2 times 2 is 4, so 1 times 2 is 2, and it's negative. So again, negative 1/2, so put the negative sign up there. Now we want to change our subtraction problem to addition, so we, again, follow the LCO, the leave change opposite rule. Change subtraction to addition, negative 2 becomes positive 2. So again, our denominator would be 4. And now we add our top numbers. So we have a negative plus a positive. So when you're adding numbers with different signs, you subtract their absolute values. So the difference between 3 and 2 is 1. And you have more negatives than you have positives. We have 3 negatives and only 2 positives. So our answer would be negative 1. So our answer is negative 1/4. Okay? Alright, so hopefully you took notes on all of that. Now your homework is to do the next 4 problems there. So number 2, 4, 6, and 8. I'll give you common denominators here on number 2. Your common denominators that you should start with should be 45. Number 4, your common denominators are 24. Number 6, your common denominators are 6. And number 8, your common denominators are 14. So now you change the top numbers to what they need to be changed with. Remember on 6 and 8 to do LCO on number 6 and number 8. Have those 4 problems for tomorrow.